So I just came back from Munich where I met and interviewed my good friend and mastermind student, Laura Buhl, who's currently doing between 40 to 50,000 a month selling stationery products and journals like this is hers, on Amazon. So if you're someone who has an expertise or who is passionate about something or who has an audience, then this video is for you. Laura is sharing her journey, how she's been able to build the 7-figure Amazon brand, and then also how you can use it as a funnel into your info business, whether you're a coach, course creator, have a school membership, or are an experienced worker or service provider of some sorts. She's also sharing with you how you can get started if you don't know where to start. So definitely check it out. Well, selling journals on Amazon actually is just a small part of Laura's business. Maybe Laura, can you tell everyone what exactly do you do beyond selling your own gorgeous journals on Amazon?
So I've been specializing in creating guided journals and planners or paper products. Over the past few years, we've helped quite a few different people that are very passionate about a topic or that are coaches or experts in a certain field, create their own product and sell it on Amazon or wherever they want to. And you can see some products behind. There's some of my own products and some of members' products. And we have like a membership where we teach the whole process.
Awesome, right? And it's also on Skool. So this is why we see like right behind you the trophy, right? So Laura also competed in the Skool games, and right now she has a Skool community where she's basically helping people like me to make their own physical products. Maybe you can show it because I mean, you've created it for us.
Here we have Evelyn's own planner. It's a growing scale planner. The idea behind it was for her mastermind members to be able to follow all of her advice over 6 months and track KPIs and set their goals. And because we all know Evelyn is so productive and gets so many things done. So we've put her daily self-management sheet, which you might have already heard about. We have made it into a desk pad that you can use.
So these are the kind of products, right, you make. Maybe you could also share like the little affirmation card or something.
Yeah.
Like you showed me one of the first physical products that
was
you made.
One of my first physical products, an affirmation card deck with a stand. That was one of my first. I created this on Canva back then.
Beautiful. Let's maybe talk about who is your ideal customer. Like, who do you work with and why do they work with you, right? So what's kind of the big idea also, as in why am I even going into physical products right now?
The ideal customer that I would work with is a coach, an expert in a certain field. We've worked a lot with therapists and also sometimes people that are just like very passionate about a topic. Like it could be someone that has a marathon group that wants to have like the perfect marathon log planner or something like that. And what I found is that there's so many amazing personal development books, but implementation and like actually doing the things and having accountability tools is so important and a gap in the market. And we find that the market is showing us that so many products that we bring on the market are so well perceived because it's something tangible. Like there's so many digital resources out there, but sometimes you just need something that you can write in. Like if you get overwhelmed or you're like, oh, what do I need to do? Like, here's your plan and you follow the plan. And I find that for people that want to have an impact, no matter what it is, if it's a passion or if it's an expertise, having your own physical products helps you do that. And of course, it's a nice business on its own. Right? Like this is how it started for me. Like it was a passion for personal development, but also a passion for e-commerce. I personally have not been like an ADHD coach or a manifestation coach or something like that. I've always seen it as an individual business, my physical product business. But I also see many people combining both and using it as a way to stand out, for credibility, as a funnel. So there's lots of ways that it not only can like help you scale your impact, increase another income stream, and then fuel both.
For me, like the biggest intrigue about it, why I was so excited that you helped me to bring those to life. The biggest intrigue, I think, is for myself, I have that vision that my communities, both the low ticket as well as the mastermind, that they always are high touch. And so there's a ceiling to high touch. And there's also a ceiling to the prices I can and want to command, especially in the lower range, right? So eventually, Grow with Evelyn has over 2,000 members. Eventually, I will need to cap, right? Because I cannot hold the service in the same way. Otherwise, I need to hire people, and then it always kind of dilutes what you do. So I cannot keep growing it infinitely without sacrificing what it is at its core, which I don't want. And I can also not regulate it through price more, because at one point, 97 or 99 a month, which it is right now, is already a lot for somebody who is in the early stages of their business. Also, the price is not the right way to regulate it. And the same kind of goes for the mastermind. While I think, price will keep going up over the years, as also my network and experience go up, I cannot see myself having more than 100 members in there. In fact, I think actually, with 59 right now, I'm taking it really slow because 59 is already a lot. So there's kind of a ceiling in which I can grow my info product based offers, because I don't want to fall out of alignment with them. And I think what the beautiful thing about the physical products is it's an additional revenue stream, right? Monetizing an audience that I already have. And it also allows me to scale my impact without putting in more time or destroying the core office that I have. So that's really the beautiful thing that I love about it. And then when you help me to connect the dots, that it's also a sellable asset, that really blew my mind, right? Because I don't see how I can ever get out of Grow with Evelyn or Scale with Evelyn, but I can see how I could sell that part of the business. Maybe can you talk a little bit about how you structure things like that, or how you think through that?
Yes. One of the key attractive components of my own stationery brands for me have always been that I'm building an asset that one day I'll be able to sell. This is also the reason why I've had different brands and I've put them into different companies so that I can individually sell those at some point. And this was inspired because I was in the Amazon FBA world, and I've seen a lot of people build companies and then sell them. And I recognized, wow, there's so much worth that you're building, and it's so different to selling a coaching business. I've sold, as you know, part of my coaching business. The valuation, what you get for it, it's very hard because it's so connected to you, and people want you in that sense. And that's different with this stationery brand. The end user, they are getting you through the product. If you are the person behind the Seller Central account, or if an investment company is, or who else, the end user, they care about the content, and that's how you're delivering it. While in coaching businesses, often the content is delivered through you. Live calls, coaching.
It's the proximity, the service, the picking your brain, you holding the space. It's very different. I love that so much. And so just so everybody understands the business model a little bit more, we're selling and fulfilling on Amazon, right? And one of the most brilliant things I ever heard was you actually created hybrid products with this. Maybe can you explain Amazon FBA standard, which is your background, and how these are hybrid products and how that interlinks with the part of your coaching business that you sold, and why you sold it, and why we ultimately manufacture hybrid products, and why that's the best solution.
Yes. So I would have to take you back to 2014, 2015, when I was first introduced to the Amazon and e-commerce space. What most people did, they did private labeling. Basically, they got a product, they put their logo on it, maybe changed their packaging, and then they put it on Amazon. And there were a few years it worked. But then at some point, to really stand out, you had to have an original product. Getting an original product usually comes with very expensive mold fees, prototypes you have to create. You have to have $50,000, even $100,000. So I sold all sorts of different products through the private label route. And at some point in 2020, it made click for me, not fully, but a half click already, that hold on, if you print a product, it is an original product.
Because of the content, right?
Because of the content.
I see.
You have the private label, similar to a private label, it's easy to get started. You don't have to have $50,000, $100,000 to start an original product. Very low risk. And at that time, I also did print on demand. My very first stationery product was actually one before this one. I had a habit tracker that you can put on the watch. The experience was fascinating to me because I created an original product, and per piece it was roughly $1 that I was spending. And the perceived value of the product was not through the material alone, it was through the content.
And the utility as well, right? So it actually solves like a real problem.
Exactly. And that made click, and that's when I realized printed product is the hybrid to be able to do the FBA game properly. And
because you just have those higher margins, but nobody can come in and just copycat you out of it.
Very hard to do, because usually in the FBA space, people would have a product, it would work well for 3 months, and the market got crowded, and there were very quick cycles. And what I find with stationary products, the cycles are very slow and very, very long. Like I've had products that have been on the market for 4, almost 5 years, but they're still selling. While in other categories, if I was like in the kitchen category or something like that, impossible. Like unless you have like a really big brand, but that only was possible with like lots of budget. This model, it's just a harder entry point for other people because they see, oh, you have to write the content, you have to create it, and it's higher barrier of entry for people, even though like once you look at what's inside, it's lots of repetition, right? Like planners and journals is often, it's the accountability piece. It's like, it's what you're adding in it. Like it's important what you're adding, but it doesn't mean that you have to write a whole book. It's not that. There's lots of repetitive pages. Oh, here, like this basically one page that repeats itself. But you have to put the thought into like, how do you plan out the page?
I mean, what I really love about these is like both of them have a complete story, right? So they're not coming out of nowhere. Somebody saw, oh, there's a product like this that's selling well, so I might as well like create it. The daily self-management worksheet is deeply rooted in my story. I think even maybe when we worked together, I was already using it. Like when we did the first time around of coaching, I might have already had it in place.
I recall the Google, like a Google document.
Exactly.
I had it so very early on.
And that's kind of a part, you know, of the culture of my community as well. It's like that we're doing this. And this is born from a real life mastermind with over 30 people. And it's the gist of it restructured into planner. So I think that you then have a competitive advantage because you either are super passionate and you really deeply care and you have all of this experience in this area, or, you know, it basically captures your coaching framework or consulting framework in the planner. Maybe could you quickly talk to us about maybe you can show us the vision board. I think it's so cool that you do this. And then also what was on there and why it's not on there anymore.
So a bit of a backstory. Every year I have 2 vision boards. One where I'm like, that's really the vision. And then I have, every year I have just the year, and then I paste all the things that have happened. So that's the actualized board. And early last year, I developed a new mini membership, which was called the Royalties Accelerator. And it was all about creating print-on-demand KDP journals, and I sold it.
You had it there, but then you decided to erase it, right?
And the reason why I did that was because I wanted to purely focus on physical products, because I could see the market already shifting at that time. The perceived value of a really nicely manufactured product is it's just very different, and it's a different customer experience for the end user that these products just do better over time. And this is why I made a decision that wasn't really easy. It took me going back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, it was a successful membership, right?
I ended up selling it, which is why I also told you that selling a coaching business is not as
profit, or as easy as selling a physical product. So what's the difference, just for the person listening that might not know, what's the difference between KDP and what you do specifically?
So KDP is a program that Amazon has where they print books on demand for you. And a few years ago, some people noticed, you can actually hack the system and also print planners, journals,
coloring books.
Yeah. And this was something I've also done for quite a few years. I created journals and planners, and I had them. Amazon buyers would buy them, and then Amazon prints and ships it, which is very attractive if you think about it, because you have very little risk in that sense, or perceived risk.
It only gets produced when somebody actually buys, right?
Exactly. It was very attractive for quite a while. The difference, however, is the quality of the product. A print-on-demand journal. It's just a paperback book, so it's very thin. The paper is not really meant for writing. Amazon never created this to print journals. It was always meant to print books. Like reading books. Once I saw my, I had an ADHD planner and a manifestation journal in print on demand through KDP. Once I saw that worked, I switched it over to physical, nicely manufactured products, because one, the perceived value is a different one. I think the end user experience is a very different one, which I think wasn't always as positive with a product that you can truly really write in that well. The profit margins much better.
Better profit.
The worth of the product. And also, I think when we're doing something and we're looking at the whole experience that the end buyer has and the end user has, if you're wanting to do this for building authority or building a beautiful customer relationship, maybe it's existing customers as well, I think quality matters a lot.
I fully agree. And I also see like how this is an asset, right? That somebody really would want to buy. A part of what somebody would buy that buys the asset would also be the relationship with the manufacturer, etc. And so you're building really something that's valuable versus with KDP. It's much easier to copy, right? There's no like real asset that you're building. There's just two more questions that I would love for you to, or maybe three, because I need to ask you also what exactly are we working on today. But before we jump into that, maybe if you could quickly explain to us what part of your membership helps with that relationship with the suppliers, right? Because I think that's so unique as well.
So I have a membership where it's teaching you what we do, from like researching a product to identifying the idea, the angle, and then the content. And we also have a second, I call it membership, but it's more like a co-op, like collective, that's how we call it. It's a group purchasing group. And we together purchase from the top manufacturers in the world that are for journals, planners, even cards, games. And because as a collective we have an order value of 500,000 pieces a year, we get fantastic pricing, the best possible manufacturers that otherwise would not.
They wouldn't even work with you, right?
No, they wouldn't. Like you could email, they won't even reply to you at all. And I was only able to work with them once I started ordering like 20, 30, 40,000 pieces in one go. Right? Before, they wouldn't talk to me. Through the collective, Elite Sourcing Collective is how we call it, we support members in getting access to these manufacturers to much cheaper prices. And we have members reporting to us, or people that have stationary businesses before, where they've paid like $12 a piece, right? They come to us and they can get the same quality, sometimes better quality, for like $3 or $4.
Oh, wow.
Right? It makes a massive difference. And even as a beginner, you can play like the big players are playing with the unfair advantage that you need really to succeed, but you can't get in the beginning. So
that's so cool.
And it's something that evolved because it was so frustrating to find manufacturers. I did not expect it. I already had some experience with manufacturing.
You went to China, right, as well, and to New York. Like you also go to all the fairs and everything. Is that right?
There are a few important fairs for the stationery space. I'm going to London as well next month, and I had to travel a lot to China, build these relationships, met my manufacturers there, and also met in Frankfurt different manufacturers. And through developing these relationships and through the quantities. But initially I've had, even this set, I've had 1,000 pieces made in gray, like pure gray. It looked horrible. And I had 1,000 pieces of them.
Were you able to sell them eventually or no?
Partially, I reduced the price. I had the product already. I did at that time. I didn't know that I could just like reject it.
Oh my goodness, there's so many costly mistakes I think you can make.
Oh yes, I spent so much money on manufacturers that were really rubbish until we got to the point that we could work with them. For someone who's starting out, it would be really hard to find someone and too easy to stop. Even though they have something that's meant to go out. And this way they don't have to go through those hassles. They don't have to travel around the world or make massive orders in order to be able to do this.
So you said you have like an order volume of around 500,000 pieces, but that does not mean, so if we're creating this planner, right, I could also start with like a lower quantity, right? Or what kind of is the lowest that people get started with in your world?
1,000 is the
1,000 pieces.
Yeah.
And is that realistic to sell 1,000 pieces? Like how long does it take people?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Our problem is often that people will run out of stock because 1,000 is not really that much, considering that to restock it also takes a bit of time. And anything below makes no sense because for 500 pieces, your cost per piece goes up significantly because the manufacturer has to set up the machines and all of that. So 1,000 costs you as much as having 500, so might as well get 1,000.
And the main like way where it's selling is through Amazon, right? So I imagine I'll drive my own audience, right? So we're gonna strategize around a pre-launch and then launch today. And then after that, like where are customers finding me and how is it a funnel? Because you said that.
You can choose to do it on Amazon. Many do it through Amazon, and the reason for it is because it has inbuilt customers, right? Like they're already searching for products, and it's inbuilt logistics, so you can have everything sent there, and Amazon will ship to them.
So Amazon does the whole fulfillment for you if you want that.
Exactly. And customer service, which is massive.
That's why I don't see like a warehouse or anything here.
No.
They do the customer service as well, so you don't even have customer service?
No.
Wow.
Which is crazy, which is amazing because
absolutely.
I've had roughly 150,000 pieces sold over the past few years.
150,000. Wow.
Now imagine what
I don't want to imagine.
how much customer service Amazon has to do with it. I still get occasional emails, but very rarely do I get emails because it's not that easy to contact the seller. Having said that, you don't have to sell on Amazon, but I highly encourage it, even if you want to just drive traffic, just using it as your like distribution facilitator, basically, because it makes it so much easier. But what's the other part of the question?
How to turn it into a funnel, right? So I'm an ads girl. We know that. You and I know that. I've run your ads and we run many ads together. And on Amazon, are we also running ads? Like, is that this? Please break down the funnel. Like, let's imagine this goes well, right? And then how would people from here maybe find my memberships or a way to work with me?
There are two ways that people can find your products. There's the Amazon own demand, because Amazon is a search engine. People will be searching for things like business planner, or they're looking for business books. And we will be using pay-per-click campaigns that target specific keywords, where we know like, okay, this would be your ideal customer. It's different to meta ads because it's less of like a discovery type of experience for the
It's more
user.
similar to Google Ads, search ads, I imagine.
Yeah. The second way that people can find your product is through you talking about it and leading them to Amazon to then purchase it. The funnel itself, if we're thinking of strangers finding you through different keywords, is through the product itself, because Amazon does not give you your customers' details. It's always Amazon's customer. But through your product, you can always offer free resources in the product, QR codes, and then the person can then be nurtured by you. You can give them resources, encourage them to join a free school community, or that can then become your funnel. And then let's say one person is a weight loss coach and has like a weight loss planner out there, then you could also say like, hey, I have a weight loss program accountability community, or I have one-on-one coaching. And then people could continue.
And I think this is where the overlap is, right, between you and I. Like, you actually encourage to also build a community for the product, ideally. So that could be a free community, but it could also be, for example, like in Leah's example. Maybe we can shout out. Should we shout out Leah and her gorgeous journal? Leah Davidson, she's also in the mastermind with us, and she has built a school community to over 100 members now.
It's too much light.
Is it too light?
Yes.
So she has a resilience journal for nervous system regulation, and she has a beautiful school community built around it, like relatively quickly on the back end of the launch of the journal. Now I need to see how many members she currently has.
So she has a QR code inside the product that leads then to, she also has a podcast.
So 132 members.
132 members.
In the Nervous System Journaling Club. Yeah. Beautiful.
Still relatively new as well on the market. It can become a funnel this way. I think it can be an incredible trust builder.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a funnel that you are already being paid for too,
That's
right?
nice.
You have a profit. I mean, it's a business on its own, like that. You add the funnel component is like a cherry on the top.
Yeah.
It's a nice bonus and a strategic way to do something that is different. We talked in the car today about like how the market expectations and how the market shifts also over time. And I think doing things that are different and like a pattern interrupt. Yeah. And especially a pattern interrupt that builds trust, because I think people have been burned so much over the last few years. Buyers have become more sophisticated.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that if you are a scam coach, you probably don't have the time to put something like this together. The likelihood of
you not taking this seriously is
low. You're already showing your commitment into what you're doing.
What I really love is like it gives you book authority without having you to write like a full book. So eventually I would love to, but right now there's so much work in the membership and in the mastermind that I don't have the capacity, but it does give you book authority, right?
But better margins.
Better margins, and people are doing something with it, right? Because, I mean, I don't know if you see Laura's book stack here as well, right? So I think both of us are reading junkies when it comes to business and personal development. But then it's like, what do you do then with it, right? I think this is where a lot of people get stuck. They don't get to take the action. And this is giving you just the right amount of information you need. And then it prompts you and holds you accountability to also action it, which I think is better. It's better to go through a small piece of knowledge, but then actually do something with it versus just keep being stuck in consumption mode.
Yeah, this is taking you into like actually doing it. Implementing, which I think if we think about that as well from our customers' perspective, they really have a proper win as well. Like they're going into the transformation, and I've had people being then scared. Well, will they still want to work with me? Like, yes.
Oh, yes.
And there's like different portions to the journey as well that can be solved, and that's why it's different to book. You don't have to put everything that you know inside. You definitely wouldn't want to. You don't want to overwhelm them as well. But it's purposefully made in a way that can positively impact them and get them further on their journey. Yeah.
I think that's like a typical value ladder, right? So when I started this journey, and you also have the book there, so that's why it's top of mind, I read Russell Brunson's book, right? And a few months back when I was actually driving to Salisbury to the hotel to see you with the kids' hotel, the Tante Frida.
Yeah.
On the way, when Danny fell asleep, I could finally stop listening to the Spider-Man song on endless repeat. So I was like listening back to Russell Brunson, to The Expert Secret, and listening back to it now after all of those years, I was like, oh, he told us everything. Like, why was I not able to do it? He told, like, looking back, that's exactly it. But it's different. Like, a book is a different experience than you going for a course. It's a different experience than you being immersed in a community and having that identity shift. It's a different experience than having a one-to-one coaching. So it's not about the knowledge. That's the thing, right? The knowledge and the information is more available than ever. Yeah. It's about the transformation. I think this is so brilliant that you managed to productize transformation like that.
I accidentally did, but thank you. But it came like full circle because it was something that I deeply needed myself. So I've loved stationery ever since I was a girl. And I must have been like 23 or 24 when I first thought of creating the perfect planner, but I had no clue how can I ever do this? Because I was already reading so many books. I was already consuming. I was a seminar junkie, like going from one seminar to another, courses and so on. Implementation has always been the hardest bit, and paper has always been important for me to implement. And I sometimes wish that, can you just give me the plan on paper and I can follow week by week and I can tick off. Otherwise it all feels so blurry in my brain. Like, what did I have to do? Like, I recall like 2 sentences from the video I just watched. It's here, right? Like, I forget, I get overwhelmed, I go back. Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah.
I needed that. And I see other people need that as well. Like, we need, everything goes so fast and there's so much to consume. And you've seen that as well. I see that a lot as well, that people over-consume and under-implement.
Yeah.
And this is
the solution.
Help. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing this. Okay, so talking about taking action, what happened until this point when I came here, right? And what do we need to do today so that we can get to what outcome with this in the future?
So for this product in particular, it was inspired from the last mastermind because I'm a participant and I was like, oh, I need a planner for I want to do all of the things. I want to track my KPIs. So what we did, we thought about the A to B journey. Who is this for? Someone who already has a business and wants to scale. We thought about like, okay, what does this person need on a daily or weekly? Do we want to have like a goal setting in there? And then we mapped out, following your process, and together with you, we mapped out what is needed. And then from there, what we always do, we have it designed. And I often print it. Right, like especially for this one, like I was printing it and like showing, like, okay, this is how I'm using it. So I tried to stress test, and then this is not the finished production yet. It's samples that we have made with our manufacturers. And in order to get to this point, to get a sample, we communicated with the manufacturer, like, okay, this is the color we think we want. We want to have like a leathery type of feeling. Can you show us? And then they collaborate with us and give us like different options until we like, and then
I have to get sidetracked, but I love the stamping so much. Like, it's actually like, it's not printed on, it's like stamped into it, and it just gives it, when you hold it, it just gives you it a completely different feel. And I also don't know if you can see this on video, but it's almost like color changing. Like, sometimes it looks green, sometimes it looks blue. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, it does. It's depending on the light.
Yeah. I think it's so cool.
So yeah, we did like gold stamping, and here gold foil stamping. And what do we do now from here? I like to have a sample and go through it. So we will stress test it another time. So a lot of what we do is actually stress test it and try to experience it. And does this prompt make sense here? Does this exercise make sense here? And something I've learned over the years is more is not more. With this type of product, less is more. Yeah, because it needs to be user-friendly. I think
the workshop, the workbook section is already quite heavy, right? Yes. It goes really deep, so I can see that. So we're going to go through and we're going to edit and refine and making sure everything is where it needs to be.
Yes, it's intuitive, easy to use. Maybe we break things down even a little bit better. We want the person to really do it.
Perfect.
And that's what we're going to do. Then to final design changes, and then we go into production soon.
Awesome. So we're also going to do like a pre-launch plan and a launch plan for it as well. Yes. So that's also, I think, what we're going to do today. So I think we're going to aim for having the first batch ready for the mastermind members in Vancouver in July, end of July. And then there will be like the official kind of launch will be closer probably to end of August or September, right?
Yeah, probably. Maybe it could be mid-August as well. But yeah, we definitely will bring these to Vancouver, so everyone gets a set.
Thank you so much. We're going to dive in now, but maybe to summarize, so when somebody wants to do this for themselves, basically the phases that they go through is they do research first, right?
Yeah.
on the product type of journal, and you validated for us there's demand in business journals.
Yes.
Then there comes the ideation, right? So what type of business journal do we create? And this is where, if you are already a coach, you have so much content laying around that you can pull and repurpose. And we also worked, for example, a little bit with AI, strip transcripts, found the nuggets in the mastermind day, etc. So then you basically need a designer that lays it out, right? And we talked a lot about, you educated me on, it needs to be very different when it's digitally versus when it's print. So that's something to pay attention to. And then we go to like the manufacturer, the materials, they sample it, you work with it, you refine it, and then ideally you pre-sell it so you have your order quantities, and then eventually you can launch it.
Yes, the pre-selling is something that can be very strategic, and something new that we are adding as well, because I think it helps you validate something with your own audience as well, and know exactly how many pieces you might need. And it gives you more freedom to not purely create a product depending on Amazon's audience alone, right? It gives you a lot more freedom to do a lot of other things and beautiful things with your own community too. And it's smart. Like, why not fund all your inventory up front? Right? Like, there's no...
And get people a discount as well, right? Because it's also... And you know what I love? All of my programs are beta programs, right? So I basically imagine, plan, pre-sell. That's like what I do anyways.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about it is people feel like, and they actually are co-creators, right? So that's what I really love about the pre-launch. It's you can share the journey and the part of the success with the people that support it. And that's why I'm excited to plan it all out.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank
okay.
You.
We need to get to work.
Yes.